Alright, so I chose to do a video on Bkfc 72 yesterday, and the UFC responded with forcing Dana White to do his job and announce some fights. We're going to watch the video where he announces all these fights on Instagram in HD quality, I might add, what you're going to see here. But we'll listen to the announcements and then get into the fights and what I think about them. Um, but yeah, we really, I already have it there. We really gotta talk about how this is really how we're promoting fights in 2025 as the UFC.
I'm busy. I got shit to do, everybody. I had a great day. Just about to take off here from Washington, D.C. We had the meeting at the White House. Could not have gone better. This is going to be awesome. All right, let's start off. First off, I'm announcing our return to New York City as UFC 322 takes place on Saturday, November 5th. The main event.
Don't even know what the date is. November 15th. Like, you couldn't pre-recorded a video, at the war room with all the names up. Like, you couldn't have a promo package ready and just drop that.
UFC welterweight champion Jack Della Maddalena defends his belt for the first time when he takes on former UFC. Chev was #1 ranked pound-for-pound fighter in the world in 23, 24, and 25. He cleaned out that division, and he has decided to take his 15-fight win streak and move up to attempt to become one of a few fighters in UFC history to win belts in 2 different divisions. Della Maddalena has won 18 fights in a row, just beat Bilal Muhammad for the welterweight title. This is literally the definition of a super fight.
Oh my god, Dana! Don't get too excited there! Oh man! Super fight! Sell it like a super fight! Oh my! This infuriates me, man. I already recorded like a 40-minute video when I went through the whole card, but at the very end, I just completely forgot what I covered in the video. But, dude, this is supposed to be the biggest year-end card you have. And this is how we're promoting it. This is what Paramount paid $7.7 billion for.
So that's the main event. Champion versus champion, Madison Square Garden. UFC strawweight champion Weili Zhang has accomplished all there is to accomplish at 115 pounds. So she's now going to vacate her title and move up and challenge Valentina Shevchenko for the flyweight championship in the co-main event of UFC 322. #1.
All right, finally, Valentina versus Zhang Weili. We've heard about this fight for a few years now, it feels. And I really thought we were going to get it in the last fight. Ultimately didn't. But obviously they were saving these fights for the brand new deal. It is a super fight. It really is. Both of these fighters at the same stages of their career. Both 2 of the greatest female fighters to ever do it. And, stylistically, both have made a lot of similar adjustments within their approach to the fight game, which I do want to point out. But let's continue with this, unbelievable announcement from Dana White. I know. I'm so pumped, man.
1 pound for pound versus #2 pound for pound. Talk about another super fight. Shevchenko's the best flyweight in UFC history and holds basically every record in the division, including most wins, most knockouts, most takedowns, and Weili is the first Chinese champion ever and one of the most dominant strawweight champions in UFC history. She's finished 19 of her 26 wins and now looks to become just the second woman to win a UFC belt in two different divisions by taking on Shevchenko. So, UFC 322, two super fights, November 15th.
Look at how dead that stare is. Again. Like, I'm not making it up. I'm not making it up. They are holding him at gunpoint to make these videos. That is the only explanation here.
In New York City, Madison Square Garden. Also on the card of UFC 322, former champion Leon Edwards returns to take on everybody's favorite, number 9 ranked Carlos Pradas. Carlos is an absolute fucking beast. He's got 5 wins in the UFC and 5 knockouts. So, UFC 322.
Out of nowhere, Carlos Pradas or Leon Edwards. I didn't think they would make that fight. I really do like that fight. I think when you look at where both they are, what both of them are in their careers, makes a lot of sense. That's an insane fight. I did not think we would see Leon Edwards until 2026. Carlos Pradas, I figured he'd be fighting at MSG. Again, I expect a lot of the fighting nerds to be fighting around September. They are.
Do not miss this one, November 15th at Madison Square Garden. I also want to update you. On 321 in Abu Dhabi on October 25th, which will be headlined by the undisputed UFC Heavyweight Championship between Tom Aspinall and Cyril Gane. I have another championship fight for you. As I mentioned just a second ago, Weili Zhang is vacating her title. So there will be a new UFC strawweight champion in Abu Dhabi as number 1 ranked contender. Verna Jandiroba takes on number 5 ranked Mackenzie Dern.
Verna Jandiroba deserves it. Mackenzie Dern, I don't get it, but that's usually what they do. In situations when you look at when the title has been vacated before, apart from Raquel Pennington versus Camila Pena made sense, but when you look at the history, I don't know. Mackenzie Dern, notable name, fans like her, for reasons. But I do like Jandiroba. I think it's well deserved. I would have much rather had a Macy Chiasson or Norma. I think I have the wrong division. Whatever. I can't remember which division is which. I'm really being honest. But interesting title fight. Should be fun though. I lean towards Jandiroba.
This is a very high-level fight between two of the best grapplers in the division. Jandiroba is a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, world champion, who has 14 of her 15 finishes by submission. She's on a 5-fight win streak, and Dern is one of the best Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu athletes to ever compete in MMA. And she holds the record for most submission wins in UFC strawweight history. All right, what else do I got here? Also being added to UFC 321, two of the best bantamweights. Number 2 ranked Umar Nurmagomedov takes on Mario Batista, who is
Umar versus Mario Batista. That got leaked, I think a week ago. But love that fight. Again, Umar coming off of the loss to Merab wants to get that one back. Mario Batista really shocked me with that Patrick Mixman. I'm still better about the Jose Aldo fight, but I like that fight. It's a really good matchup, and again, it keeps that division active, and we have a very active champion in Marab already looking to fight Corey Sandhagen relatively soon. Um, but what the hell is that? Whatever. Um,
Ranked number 8. He's been grinding his way up in the rankings, and it's going to be a fun one, too. Rounding out the main card for UFC 321. First, number 2 ranked heavyweight Alexander Volkov taking on Jelton Almeida.
Alexander Volkov, the guy that Dana White said right to his face after the gunfight, "We'll do right by you." He's Jelton Almeida on the same card that we're giving Cyril on a title shot. Nice.
Volkov is one of the most intimidating guys in the heavyweight division at 6'7". He has 24 wins by knockout, and Almeida is a great grappler who's finished.
You know what I'm not even talking about that card. I'm talking about MSG. I'll do a separate video on that because I'm already getting pissed off about what they're doing to Volkov. So, main event, right? JDM Makachev. Easily the biggest super fight upcoming. We all want the Ilya Topuria Makachev fight. This is still an incredible fight, and it's well deserved. And it gives Jack Della Maddalena the possibility to really enter his 30s with a win over what I would say one of the goats of the sport. One of the goats of the sport. For sure, I think he's the greatest lightweight to do it. Yes, I would put him ahead of Khabib. I know he got knocked out. But again, the quantity and quality of his wins, I like better than Khabib's. But I want to start with JDM. Israel Makachev is clearly the biggest name in this fight. But JDM, man, very, very interesting story. He loses his first 2 fights by finish. One by first time internet control, the other got TKO'd in the 3rd round. But ever since those first 2 fights, this guy has been a machine. First round knockout, second round knockout, second round internet control, second round knockout, first round knockout, second round doctor stoppage against Kevin Doucette, who made his way into the UFC. Second round TKO, first round KO. Ends up fighting Andrew Rusa in his debut, beats him by unanimous decision, and then goes on an unbelievable run to start his UFC career. First round knockout over Pete Rodriguez at UFC 270. First round liver punch TKO over Ramazan Emeev. Then he TKOs Danny Roberts, and then submits Randy Brown in the first round. That rhymes with a rear naked choke. But to start your career, man, incredible wins. Ends up running into Basil Hoffa's, who gave him a lot of issues. I must add, he did get a Fight of the Night bonus for it. It was a split decision, but again, the combinations, he was able to land the bigger shots, and there's something about JDM on the feet, man. There really is. Ends up fighting Kevin Holland, who you guys know. I'm a big fan of Kevin Holland, and even though Kevin Holland isn't a ranked fighter, he is still a high-level fighter. I still think a lot of the fan base in this microphone just stay in place. A lot of the fan base underrates. Oh my god, whatever. You know, whatever. I'm just gonna leave it like that. Oh no, a lot of the fan base underrates Kevin Holland. I feel. Then Gilbert Burns, Gilbert Burns got him down. Gave him a lot of issues early, but he's able to TKO him in the third round with a knee, followed it up with ground strikes, and he ends up facing Bilal Muhammad, a training partner to Islam Makhachev, not a permanent training partner, but somebody who has trained with Islam. And even I favor Bilal going into this because honestly, I had no optimism. I thought at this point the UFC is being taken over by anti-fighters. But Bilal Muhammad did really good, and he did use the Canelo hands. But JDM outlanded him on the feet, stayed on the feet, was able to defend every takedown, and with the help of Craig Jones, he was schooling JDM at a lot of moments. He ended up nearly tripling him in strikes, um, just a double. But it was a very, very good performance. A really fun fight. One of my favorite title fights in recent memory. And for his first title defense, he has to go in against Islam Makhachev. 27-1. 4 defenses at lightweight. Which, by the way, like, we all know the story of Islam Makhachev, right? A part of the Dagestani village, and, you know, grows up with Khabib, trains with him, and goes into, I think he went into Sambo originally, ends up debuting in 2010, and goes on a massive run, up until making it in the UFC, submits Leo Kuntz by second round rear naked choke, and then runs into Adrian Martins, who KOs him in the first round. I believe, wasn't it an overhand? But got flatlined in the first round, and after that was able to go on and do what all these Dagestani fighters do. Unanimous decision, knocks out Bison Type over submits Cajun Johnson, beats Arman Sarukian early on by unanimous decision, getting a fight of the night bonus for it. Beats Davey Ramos, submits Drew Dober, submits Tiago Moises, which was a really good win. Submits Dan Hooker in the first round, who was still in the top 5 of the lightweight division. TKO's Bobby Green. Goes into the Oliveira fight after Oliveira lost the belt for weighing a half-pound overweight. Submits him in the second round. And then starts his reign of terror. A lot of people thought Volkanovski won that first fight, though, and that has to be a talking point going into this fight. But he got the nod. Volkanovski steps in short notice after Oliveira gets injured, and we know the story. I don't want to talk about it. Poirier, an aged Poirier, gave Islam Makhachev a lot of issues. Ultimately, he did find the Darce choke in the 5th round. He did win most rounds too, but again, where Dustin Poirier was at his career, it did show a lot of groundwork for what I think JDM could really benefit from when going back to that fight. And then obviously supposed to fight Arman Sarukian. It doesn't happen. He submits Moicano and leaves the lightweight division. Now, my initial thoughts of this fight, right, is Dagestan versus Russia. JDM working with Craig Jones. Craig Jones wants to get this one back from Islam, but all from the Dagestan, right? This is hard. This is really hard. You know, skill wise, I think Islam Makhachev is more skilled. I think he has more ways to win. JDM though, even in the fights that he struggled in, and keeping in mind this is Islam's first time fighting at this weight class, I don't think Islam Makhachev will be able to use a lot of the tactics he used at 155. I don't think he'll be able to really hold down JDM the same way he could a Dustin Poirier or, an Oliveira. I think it's a much different level. And I honestly lean towards JDM. I think JDM could get the upset. Um, I would go by decision, but I need to think more of it. But again, we've already known for a while now this is the main event of this card. Probably the most anticipated fight of the year. Um, After we learned it won't be Ilya versus Islam, but it's looking like we will get that fight next year regardless. Now, question would be though, is if Israel Makhachev beats JDM, wins the welterweight title, adds that bit of hardware to his legacy, and the welterweight title, even though he's defended the belt more than Khabib, I think the welterweight title would completely set him apart. I think that would make it unanimous for people to look at Islam Makhachev and be like, alright, that gives him more weight. But at the same time for JDM, very young, undefeated apart from his first two fights. And if he can go out there, and if he can finish it, and you beat the number one pound for pound guy, well, yeah, if you beat the number one pound for pound guy in your first title defense, I know it's Ilya now, and maybe Hamza, whatever, maybe, but you get what I mean. Islam is looked at by many as the number one pound for pound fighter. This should be the most ridiculous first defense ever. And I feel like JDM is a guy who can take some of the star power that Islam has and really run with it. Hardcores love him. He has a style that casuals can get behind. The question really is, can Craig Jones and JDM get revenge for Volkanovski? And they better. But again, it's a really, really, really tough fight to call. The more I'm thinking about it, the more I'm flip-flopping. And then, in the co-main event, this fight was rumored a while ago, if I'm truly being honest. Valentina Shevchenko versus Zhang Weili. No, Valentina Shevchenko. I want to start off with the Grasso fights. Because, look, I don't need to say anything about her. She lost to Nunes twice, went to the flyweight division, and she ran this entire division. Joanna Jones, Jessica Moose, Jessica I ran through everybody, and then she got submitted by Alexa Grasso. They end up going into the rematch, goes to a split draw. Um, and then in the trilogy fight, she ends up beating Alexa Grasso by unanimous decision to reclaim her title. And then she fights Manon Fiorot in her last fight. Manon Fiorot gave her a lot of issues, but what Valentina Shevchenko has been able to do well over the last few years is she's adapting her game to her age. The same way that Zhang Wei is. And, you know, we all know how good she is on the feet. We all know the skill she has in her hands and her kicks. The problem is that Zhang Wei did the exact same thing against Tatiana Suarez. I and many other people believe that the grappling of Tatiana Suarez will be too much for Zhang Wei when it was the other way around. Zhang Wei outgrappled Tatiana Suarez to win by unanimous decision, and you know, beating Yao Zhao and Yan, beating Amanda Lemos, Carla Esparza. Zhang Wei has been in nothing but classics. The back fist against Joanna Jędrzejczyk, obviously their first fight with, the infamous Mega Mind Jacek. And then the Rose fight, she got head kicked in the first round. Ends up going back in the second fight, winning by a split decision. Apart from that, though, beat Andrade, Tisha Pennington, and then her wins over here in KLF. But what she's been able to do in the strawweight division, it's been truly inspiring. Like this 5-fight win streak here, she's put Chinese MMA on the map. They just went to China, and it would really, really be powerful to obviously have a double champ in that region. I know it's technically not double champ anymore, but it never was. Um, they still let you hold on to both belts anyway after the fight. It's the same shit. Um, but I just think that skill has something to do with this sport, but majority of it is hunger. And I just see in this fight, Zhang Wei, the hunger to becoming a double champion. It's just, I expect to see more out of her in this fight. I really think that she's advanced her game in better ways than Valentina has. And I'm more confident in her winning this if she can make the weight class properly. What is the height? 5'5", 5'4". Yeah, I mean, can Valentina kick for that range? And could Valentina compete with her on the ground? Those are the two questions. I lean towards Wei Zhang in my initial thoughts, but I don't give a fuck about Blanchfield versus Tracy Cortez. We'll talk about that at a later date. It is a good fight. It is a good fight. Aaron Blanchfield, holy shit, dude! I totally forgot. She made the fucking heel move of the century. I totally forgot about that shit, man. I mean, so your opponent has a season. Guys don't know. She faced Macy Barber in her last fight, Apex main event. Nobody cared about it, but at the last second, it got called off because Barber ended up having a season, and Blanchfield just ripped her shit, dude. She's unprofessional. She can't make weight. She can't do this, which objectively she was right about. But holy shit, man! Like your opponent just had a seizure. chill the fuck out. I do like Chase Cortez too, but I want to talk about the main fight. And there's no fucking way. If they put that fight ahead of this is a future fight on the card. There's no fucking way, and I'm just assuming that Tapology has it this way. There's no fucking way you're putting that ahead of this. Anyways, um, Leon Edwards versus Carlos Cortez. And man, I did not think they would do this. Obviously, they are throwing Leon Edwards a bone in the sense that they are putting him up against probably the two worst matchups they possibly could. And you can argue they really did it on purpose. Again, Bilal Muhammad, not really a big star, went on a massive win streak, or it's either you get the title shot by being a name or going on a big win streak. But they gave him Bilal out-grappled him. And then they gave him Sean Brady immediately after, which I've been a huge Sean Brady fan. It's funny that Bilal Muhammad is the only person to beat Sean Brady, and he knocked him out. You fucking knocked him out. And it was a good knockout, too. But Sean Brady, what a dominant performance. I've been a fan of Sean Brady ever since he really got in the UFC. I love his style. I think, his jiu-jitsu is high level. His striking is really good. But I really think that Sean Brady has reached another level. And then he's going in against Carlos Cortez, which, by the way, fought 12 days ago. He KO'd Jeff Neal at UFC. I'm so dumb. What number was that? UFC 319. Yeah, I'm slow. Whatever. Yeah, you got that spinning elbow. Back-to-back spinning elbows at UFC 319. And it was an amazing win. You get over Jeff Neal, which Jeff Neal isn't the same as he was a few years ago, but he's still a bona fide welterweight contender. He will always be around the top 15, whether he is in it or not. He obviously had to fight with Ian Gary on short notice, where Ian Gary just keeps and jabbed his way to a decision. I don't know, man. I'm not a big Ian Gary fan. I respect him, high level martial artist. Very boring, very questionable relationship. But he KO'd Neil Magny before that, KO'd Wei Jingliang, and we know the story of Carlos Cortez, man. Part of the fighting nerds, those guys all of them are going to become major draws. But goes from the regional scene, which you look back at his regional fights, he's in TKO, he's been submitted a couple times. But man, when he hit the Contender Series, he was ready. Second round straight left. Second round straight left against Trevor Dallas. Knees Charles Radke. Knees Charles Radke into oblivion. Knocks out Li Jingliang with a left hook. Knocks out Neil Magny. This guy is a beast. Their entire camp is insane. And the activity, again, I need to go back to it to show you. Like, the activity that these guys show. So, this will be his third fight this year. He fought 4 times in 2024. He fought, let me get rid of canceled fights. That's really fucking me up here. 23. He only had 1 fight in 23. 3 fights in 2022. 3 fights in 2021. 3 fights in 2019. Like, this guy is an absolute beast. And I really do think that this is the UFC passing the torch, I guess you can say. I really think they know, like, okay, with Leon Edwards, he won the belt. He does have a following. The UK market will always be big. Oh my god. Will always be big. But, I don't know, man. If Nate Diaz is out here, and he's nearly finishing you. Like, if Nate Diaz finishes Leon Edwards, maybe he would have stayed, fought Kamaru Usman for the title. Maybe he would have been the one to upset Kamaru Usman. And could you imagine that? Upsets Connor, upsets Kamaru, and then gets to fight back against Jorge. But I don't know. I did not think Leon Edwards was going to turn around that quick. I know it was 5 months ago. Um, happened in March, right? So it would be like what, a 9 month turnaround, right? Yeah, somewhere like that. I didn't expect that one, but I really like this matchup. I really have to say, I love what they're doing with the contenders and all divisions right now. Again, I want to see Arman Sarukian get booked. I get it. He should be fighting for the title. He lost his title shot, but again, I wanted to go through these fights. This is a major card, obviously. MSG is the biggest year-end event league, but I'm really looking forward to it, man. I really am. And even though I hate Dagestani fighters, man, I can't lie. The story of, the prodigy outdoing the master, I do like that narrative. I have to admit it. I purely hate these fighters for narrative reasons. Majority of them. Um, but that's what I got though. Um, I didn't expect Dana White to drop this on us yesterday. That's why I'm talking about it today. Go check out my video where I talked about Bkfc 71, I think it is. And I went through that card and the whole implication of Conor McGregor competing in the Bkfc and fulfilling his Hitman DLC. But let me know, what do you think about MSG? What fights do you want to see added to this card? But if JDM gets the upset here, you can make the LAF fight. But if Islam wins here, do you make the LAF fight at 170? I don't know. Now that it's confirmed, I got a lot of videos to do. Finally, something that's not Roger Jackson, but I'm very interested to hear what you guys have to say about all these fight announcements. And how do you guys see these fights playing out? Let me know. Thank you for all the love and support lately. Later.